Alright, we're going to see if this actually works this time. Hey guys, looks like I might actually have gotten this thing to work. Okay, so I had some thoughts today. Yeah, woohoo! Only took me 9 tries to finally get Periscope to decide to let me talk to you guys today. I had held up my book earlier that I'm going to be speaking at Young Living's International Convention on, called Full Spectrum Success. I had some thoughts today. Being Monday, all of us in network marketing know the day of the week is kind of irrelevant for us. We work all the time, but I was thinking, I had a good conversation with Sarah earlier today when we were talking about rejection and why it's somewhat difficult. Thank you for all the hearts, by the way. Those are awesome to see. Thank you guys for persisting and continuing to try to watch this too. I'm sure Periscope's rather busy right now, which is probably the problem we're having. But I want to talk a little bit about rejection and the power of next. And I wanted to kind of tie it into the different personality colors, which is, it's a hobby of mine. After writing that book, I tend to see patterns in how people relate. And so I made some notes here, but on rejection, all of us experience it. None of us love it. But very few people understand rejection. And I think we have a tendency to internalize it in different ways, especially based on personalities. So if you guys will bear with me, I'd like to talk a little bit about each of the 4 colors and the different ways that rejection tends to impact those colors. And I want to kind of point out that, rejection occurs. It's something that happens. What we do with it, what we decide to do with it, whether we internalize it or whether we accept it or whether we assimilate it, that's what actually has an impact on our lives and in how we can help others. If you think about children, which I have 6, so I get this on a regular basis. You can reject an idea that they have or a request that they have. That does not mean that's the last time you're going to hear that request. They're going to keep coming back, and that's just how children are. They don't necessarily take no for an answer the first time. I see tons of hearts showing up. Thank you for those. Obviously, some of you have children. You understand exactly what I mean here. So let's look briefly at the different colors. And I'm going to kind of do them in the order that I have them in the book. I'm going to talk about reds first. I'm a red, so you don't think you can deal with that many? The key is, that's Ryan. Come on, Ryan, you have 6. You almost had me going there for a minute. So reds tend to take rejection as embarrassment. We tend to be very proud. When we face rejection, we look at it as embarrassment. We already kind of deal with insecurities. Reds do. You might not think that because we tend to be really bold, but we do have a lot of insecurities, and we hide that behind our boldness. So when we experience rejection, it's embarrassing to us. So we internalize it in embarrassment. But you have to remember, you're probably not going to see it as much as embarrassment when it comes out. Reds tend to manifest their embarrassment in sarcasm, anger, other more strength-oriented emotions. They don't like appearing weak, and even though they are embarrassed, their tendency is to try to overdo something. Sydney, I am with Young Living Essential Oils. That's the company that I choose to represent. However, my book is non-company specific, and I look to network marketing as the future for a lot of people. And I have profound respect for anybody in network marketing. And my desire is to help people understand people in general better, whether it's your family, your church, your organization, your business, all of those. The title of the book is Full Spectrum Success, Living and Leading in True Color. You can get it off of Amazon, or you can go to my site, which is liveintruecolor.com, and you'll get a little more information there. There's also a quiz to find out what color you are if you don't know. So reds, they'll get over their rejection They will, because they tend to be pretty strong personalities. But they're going to spend plenty of time pondering what they could have done to get a different outcome. That's just something Reds do. They'll chew over and over on it to see what they possibly could have done differently. So when facing rejection, we'll go over each of these. Hey, Mike, how's it going? When facing rejection, it's really important that a Red, that they have a what that they'll get as an outcome, like what they're going to receive as an outcome for going through it is worth more than what it will take to endure it. So for them, when they look at the rejection and the embarrassment and they're going through this in order to continue and pursue what they're after, they have to refocus on what it is that is their goal. And when that what is more powerful than what they're going through, they'll overcome it and they'll succeed. Okay, so blues. Blues are next. They tend to take rejection as insulting, as a personal affront to them. They can manifest that. When you see rejection manifest in a blue, a lot of times you'll kind of see a whatever attitude. That's their way of trying not to let it affect them or their ability to have fun, just because they... Heart party. Thank you, Kristen. They can manifest a whatever mentality, or in worst cases, a blue who's experiencing rejection can actually sink into pretty bad depression. They can really take it personally because they somehow tie acceptance into their why, which is what blues have. Blues have a why. Not every color personality has a why. We all experience that, but that might not be the key. The master question, so to speak, for your color. Blues, that is them, though. They've got to have a reason for doing it. They've got to have a why. And if their why is at all tied to acceptance, then rejection crushes them, and it can really, really cause problems. So blues, they'll stew over it a little bit, but they typically they ultimately decide life's too short to really pay that much attention to this, and they'll move on. Whether that means they burn a bridge with the individual that rejected them, very possibly could happen, but either way they will move on, and they'll do it fairly quickly usually. So when facing rejection with a blue, it's super important for blues to have a why that overpowers the really common doubt that plagues blues when they face rejection, and that is the question, why am I doing this? And if that question of why am I doing this outweighs the reason why they started it in the first place, then it will overpower them, and that's a bad place to be for a blue. So, by the way, if you guys have team members or people that you know that you feel would benefit from this, please feel free to invite them. My scope and reach is only so much on this, but I'd really like other people to have a chance to listen to this if you think that that's something that can help them with their business. I appreciate that. And I definitely appreciate all the hearts. Thank you guys very much. By the way, blues and reds. If you're blues and reds, send the hearts up. Let me see them. Or just post the color. If you know what color you are, go ahead and post it. I would love to see that from the people that are on here. Got lots of hearts showing up. That's good. Red, okay, at The Essential Fam, red. At Oiler 101, yellow. Blue, red, learn about oils, red, okay. Green, I think. Lee Bob, 88T. If you're not sure about green, go ahead and go to liveintruecolor.com, take the colors test. We got a yellow, I don't know. Go to liveintruecolor.com, take the colors test. It's simple, it's short. Plaid, Mike Marlowe, yeah, right. If plaid is 5 shades of red, that might be true. Monty, blue, cool. Got you on there. All right, yellow. Awesome. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about green. That's our next color. Thank you, Kristen, for posting that in text form for them. Greens tend to take rejection inwardly. They don't always show it on the outside. They view rejection as a lack of trust. And that causes them to kind of doubt their methods. They doubt their paradigm. They withdraw socially. And this is typical. This isn't every single one. A lot of it depends on, like I talk in the book about the different shades of your color. Depends on your functionality in that color. Inwardly, though, they may be withdrawn socially. Typically, greens inwardly, there is a tidal wave of emotion going on, from satire, sarcasm, counter strategy, or revenge strategy. Could also happen. It's all cooking up here in their brain. They might not necessarily say it. Greens are typically the longest to get over rejection. How do I invite my Periscope followers to watch this? If you're on Android, swipe up on the screen, and you should have an option there where you can click Share Broadcast. iPhones, I think it's to the right. I don't own an iPhone, so I'm not totally sure. If one of you guys do, go ahead and post that answer, but I'm pretty sure it's swipe from left to right for iPhone, swipe from bottom to top for Android. And then click Share Broadcast, and that'll allow you to share the broadcast with those that you want to see it. So, okay, yes, to the right for iPhone. Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that confirmation. Okay, so greens, they're typically the longest to get over rejection because, honestly, they're like elephants. They never forget. And they have an incredible memory when it comes to loyalty as well, though. So I don't want that to come across as just a negative, but we are talking about rejection here. And they'll typically take the longest to get over things because they don't forget easily. So when facing rejection, it's important for greens to have faith in their system, their formula, their training, their how that they're going to do it. And they want to know that it will produce the desired effects, despite how bleak it may look sometimes to them. If they know that they continue on, this is a proven system, the facts are there, the history's there, they will get the results that they're after by continuing, they'll do it. And that's important. So as long as that how that they're going about in action outweighs how bleak it looks at the time, and they trust that system, they'll be fine, even through rejection. So yellows, I've got you guys down here last, but definitely not least. Your bride is so green. Well, it's interesting. My bride is red and green. I'm red and blue mostly. So that was Mike. You can take any color combination and put them together as long as you understand each other and understand how to communicate with each other, which is what this book is about. And trust me, it's a life study, and it's an ongoing study. She's Christmas, exactly, red and green. So yellows, let's look at yellows. They tend to take rejection as a personal injury or personal hurt. They kind of believe rejection is basically a person not wanting them specifically, not what they're offering so much or the opportunity, but them and spending time with them. That kind of rejection, that's how they take rejection, and it hurts them. They also have a little bit harder time, kind of like the greens, they have a little bit harder time letting go of the rejection. It still hurts. That means separating themselves. If they're going to get over it, it requires separating themselves from the perceived emotional attachment of acceptance that wasn't given to them. And a lot of them, they view acceptance as, as quality time. You know the different love languages out there. Quality time is very important to most yellows. And if you're rejecting them, they view it as you rejecting time with them. Not necessarily a product that they're offering, but them specifically. So when facing rejection, it's really important for yellows to remember that they may not be the who for that person. Okay? You presented who is their key word. They're all about people. When you're talking to someone and you as a yellow and you face that rejection, they don't want it, you might realize that you're not the who for that person. Maybe somebody else is. But that's okay, because that just brings you one step closer to the who that you are supposed to reach, whether that day, that week, that month. And that kind of brings me to the next part of the scope that I want to do, and that's the power of next. So if you guys are enjoying this, would you throw me a little comment, say yes, give me some hearts, let me know you're engaged, you're liking this, and then we'll move forward into the power of next. And this is going to take some sales training that I had years ago. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yes, great info. Good. Okay. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the encouragement. Okay. We'll keep going then. So the power of next. During college, I did door-to-door sales. This was before the colors, before I knew this information, before I'd studied this. Out freaking standing. Thank you, Ryan. So, in door-to-door sales, they knew that they would be dealing with recruiting college kids from multiple campuses with multiple personalities to deal with, and they had to come up with a training that superseded the personalities and allowed them to unlock people's abilities in the sales floor to, or in our case, we're going door to door, so dealing with multiple people in a day. So they would teach about the power of next. And this had to do with the fact that when you walked up to a door, you knock on a door, you go to speak to someone, and they shut you down, they reject you, they slam the door in your face, I've been shot at, trust me, there's plenty of things that can happen when you go door to door selling. But it was an amazing experience because you get rejected on so many times per day. And there's a couple different ways that you can handle it. Their way of training people above and beyond their personalities and understanding that. See, I think it's important to know your personality and also know how to deal with other personalities and rejection, because you're going to deal with that in your team. You're going to see some people suffer in a certain way that have been rejected, and if you understand that and you understand their color, you'll also be able to build them up, which I'm not going to go into that today, but we may do that in a later scope. But you definitely can find some of that in the book, Full Spectrum Success. So this training superseded the personalities to give you strength, and it was the power of next. Understanding that when that door closes, that's okay, because that is bringing you one step closer to the door that you need to go into, that you need to say, that will say yes to you. Gets you one step closer. Understanding love languages, understanding colors. Very similar, yeah. Each personality is going to have a way to communicate, and that's important to know, whether you use the love languages or whether you understand their personality color. Communication is what I'm all about. So this is just my avenue using the MLM colors. Learn how to deal with another person. Yes, you do. Yep. And that's essential in our business. So going back to the power of next, there's a quote that I ran across that I honestly couldn't tell you where it originated from, but it says, "Amateurs convince, professionals sort." And I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And it has definitely impacted my view, because there's a lot of truth to it. Amateurs will work on convincing everybody that they meet, or every door that they knock on, in my case, convincing that person and selling that person on something, that you need this. And they'll spend so much time wrapped up and so much emotion wrapped up in trying to convince them. When a professional, they're going out and they're trying to sort out the people who actually need or want what they have to offer. And I thought about it, and on the book field, I'm going to share a mistake that I made. That feel free to share this with your team, because this is crucial. And it's something that I have had to come to grips with in my network marketing business the same way I had to come to grips with it in the sales world. And I didn't back then, and it's come full circle, and I've had to see it again and learn from it again. And that is the challenge between closing ratio and duplication. And here's where the rubber meets the road on this lesson. When I was in door-to-door sales, I had a closing ratio of almost 90%, which meant that 9 out of 10 of those doors that opened to me, I sold product. Here's the kicker. I was so selective about which doors I knocked on, because I just knew these people would never buy, those people would never buy. Ooh, that's a nice house in the neighborhood. I'm going to stop there. I'll bet they would buy. And I would spend an hour to an hour and a half convincing these people that this would fit their needs, and I'd make the sale. I was an excellent salesman. I had a 90% closing ratio, and I was so proud of my closing ratio. We'd go to our monthly meetings, weekly meetings, and I was just pumped that I had an 80-90% closing ratio, highest one in the group. Knocked on 100 doors, got 90 sales that week. One of the next guys up, I didn't consider to be particularly good at sales. And I thought I was better than their system. I can do this. This guy shows up and knocked on almost 1,000 doors in a week. It was incredible, the numbers. And I'm like, good grief, how did you even get in and out of those places that fast? He said, I spent 15, 20 minutes showing the product, asked for the sale, I'm out. If they don't need it, they don't want it, okay, I'm out. Yeah, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Very true. So anyway, this guy did almost 1,000 doors, and he only had a 40% closing ratio, maybe a little below that even. But long story short, my 90% at 100 resulted in 90 closings. His 40% at 1,000 resulted in 400 closings. More than 4 times the business that I produced, simply because he allowed himself to be teachable in the system and the power of next. He knocked on every door. He didn't care what the yard looked like, what the house looked like. He knocked on the door. He explained who he was, what he had to offer. If the person said no, he didn't take it personally. He accepted that rejection and thought about it differently than I did. He realized that that rejection was that person sorting themselves into the no box. Professionals sort. Don't worry about the rejection. Don't worry about the no. Accept that that brings you one step closer to a yes and the person that you're actually after. So, and that kind of goes back to, I know the Bookhouse have done one recently on go for no, and that's an awesome concept. It's basically the same thing. Keep going for no. Change your mindset about rejection. Don't take it personally. Accept it for what it is. That person is freeing up your time to go find the people that you really are going to have an impact with. So don't be afraid of the no's. I learned something interesting from a Periscope with Dr. Jim Bob Hagerton. And if you guys don't follow him, you really should. It's at Dr. Jim Bob, at DOCTOR Jim Bob. Amazing teacher. He's awesome. But he was talking about a book that he read, and I'm not going to get it perfect or exactly right, but he says, repetition creates neurological pathways. Repetition creates neurological pathways, and they will be repeated, either positively or negatively. So if you are accepting rejection personally and not realizing that it's the people sorting themselves into the categories of interest or no interest, you're going to create a pathway that's going to repeat itself. Every time you encounter rejection, that's going to be where it goes. It's going to embed itself in you instead of flowing by you and enabling you to realize you're that much closer to the people that need you, that need what you have, that want what you've got. So I would encourage you guys, pay attention to the personality colors, pay attention to how you accept rejection, and realize that rejection is simply a common sorting of people. People are helping you sort them into yes, no, or maybe. Revisit maybes, let no's go away. They could be no's for now, no's for later. But in either case, let them sort themselves. Don't be afraid of rejection. Let that no and that rejection be looked at as somebody sorting themselves. Thank you for the compliment, Dempsey's. Appreciate that. So that's what I have for you guys today. The color test website. Mine is liveintruecolor.com. And it has a simple, short test, but it'll help you get an idea of your color and the basis of all 4 colors. And for those of you going to Young Living's International Convention, I will be speaking Session A on this topic. So do me a favor and look me up if you guys are going to that. Yep, let them sort themselves, absolutely. And just understand that rejection is a natural process, and it's helping you sort out the people that you're really after. So, thank you guys. I look forward to doing more of these, and appreciate all the hearts. Thank you so much for the hearts, and tap that screen before I go just to give me a few more, if you will, if you really appreciated what I had to say. And does anybody have any questions before I close it out? I'll do my best to answer them if you do have them. I saw something on there. Which color is it? And then I lost it. Can you repost that question? It had to do, I saw the word rejection, but I missed it. You're welcome. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Look forward to seeing you, too. I love your posts. Your scopes are awesome. And Oily Tools, for those of you that don't have it, that are in Young Living, get Oily Tools, for crying out loud. It is so helpful in building your business. It is an app, so go look it up. Oily Tools, get it. You will be very pleased that you got it. Which color is most apt to take constructive criticism as rejection. Oh, you know, constructive criticism is a tough one because it kind of depends on how it's delivered. And you'll see, when you read the book, you'll see that there's different styles of communication for different colors. I would say your first one to take offense at constructive criticism is probably going to be a green. Typically because by the time they've done something or said something, they've already thought it out. And so constructive criticism is kind of shaking their paradigm, shaking their belief. I will not be scoping from convention. Unfortunately, I don't think that is allowed. So we will not be doing scoping from convention. But I will keep doing some of these scopes and doing some trainings as well. I am also offering to do training calls with different teams. So if you've got a team of network marketers and you think that they would benefit from this, go on to liveinTrueColor.com, contact me, let me know, and we're setting up different conference calls to do some trainings with different teams and things like that. So I'll be happy to do that. Awesome, Dempsey's. Yeah, I also have a Facebook group that you are. It is members only, so you'll have to ask to be a part of it. But we'll get you confirmed to get you on the Facebook group as well, and it's called Full Spectrum Success, and we discuss some things in there as well, and announcements and things like that will come out there. So, okay, Chris, that sounds good. Thank you. Looking forward to it. I wasn't sure which one of you it was, so I wasn't going to name names. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go and get back to your afternoon. I just bought the Kindle. Thank you. Good job. Read it and enjoy it. And if you have questions, get on the Facebook group or send me an email. I'll be happy to help out and happy to answer. So everybody have a wonderful Monday. Let's rock it this week. And remember, rejection equals sorting. So don't worry about it. All righty. You guys take care. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. Have an awesome afternoon. If I can shut it down, I'll say have an awesome afternoon.